All right, so it's now recording. So let's begin with familiarity with AI applications in clinical settings. So the first question would be, how would you define AI and what comes to your mind when you think about AI in occupational therapy?
Okay. See, for me kasi AI started off as something very different. And honestly, to be honestly, I was not open to it kasi I feel like it was a shortcut and I did not approve of it. Parang feel ko, me as a clinician or the therapists in my clinic would not benefit so much from it because it would I was fearing that it would alter the clinical judgment of therapists. No, kasi nga there's something else that's doing all of the thinking for you. So for me, again, AI would be your artificial intelligence and uh, hindi ko alam kung boomer way of me talking na ayoko siya before. What comes to mind when I think about AI and occupational therapy, like I said before, it's not something that I welcomed, but now I know that it's such a helpful tool because I use it personally in my practice and we use it in our clinic. In the most slightest way we can actually from doing the promotions to even searching toys that are new. It's harder to search it on Google than to talk to AI, ChatGPT, and ask the ChatGPT to search for this very specific toy that we can use in the clinic for these concerns. Now, so something like that lang as an idea. Okay.
Okay, so can you expound? You said that you use AI in your clinic, so let's go on to experiences with AI and AI integration clinical settings. So, how has your experience been like with using AI in your clinic? And if there's aspects of your clinical practice that you don't use AI, can you share experiences behind not using it as well?
Okay. One is I don't use it during documentation. I feel like once you start using the AI kasi, you would tend to rely on AI to write the documentation for you. Or maybe hindi ko pa siya na-explore in a way that it would benefit me rather than me relying on it. So as much as possible, I'm trying not to rely on AI. Um, you're asking me where? No, I don't like using it. Am I correct?
And where you use it as well in your
Okay.
practice.
So an example that I can give when we use it, I own Sprouts Therapy Center in Ortigas. I do the billing, the finances, the so I do everything for Sprouts, even the social media. Now it helps a lot in terms of social media because I can train the chat GPT to think like how I want it to think or how I want my outputs to be. So before that, I didn't know that you could do this. No, so you can apparently train your chat GPT to sound more like you and your manner of, I guess, speaking. No, anyway, so that's what I did, and I'm using that now to create more information. I mean, more posts for our social media. So let's say I need to post about a specific therapist who joined us. I just input the details of the therapist and then I give it the prompt and then it creates that for me. In terms of practice, I do use it in terms of like how I gather toys, new materials. So if I can't think of a toy na because sometimes my other therapist would go teach we have a toy like this in the other clinic, maybe you can find it. I don't know what to search. No, in Google kasi you would have to be specific. So with AI, I can describe what it is they're asking for and what the targets would be, and they could give me a list of these toys that can benefit the clinic and the students that we have. Another thing I use it a lot with is I do feeding therapy in the clinic. So if we're doing the SOS approach, yung gradation of the food, right? So let's say you're starting off with skyflakes. What would be the next one towards your goal, your main food? Yun yung pinaka-easiest for me to use. Kasi if you prompt AI to find food that is the same as this specific texture, that can be easily found in groceries in the Philippines or in Metro Manila. They would the AI would give you specific brands and the type of, let's say, cracker that you would use or that could be found. Instead of me going to the grocery and looking talaga on my own. No, at least this way, I can also ask for the price. I can inform the parents as well. So I guess yun yung mga examples ko for that.
Can you share which of the generative AI based applications do you use?
I have not explored anything besides ChatGPT yet. So nandun pa lang ako.
Okay. So, with your use of ChatGPT, so both for administrative work and for your clinical practice in terms of like searching toys and for food, how do you
Mhm.
think has generative AI impacted your role as an OT and your clinical practice, or in what ways has it not really made an impact?
Hmm. How has it impacted my practice? Oh, well, for one, definitely made it easier. Kasi whether we like it or not, I'll give the SOS as an example, no? The, prior to that, you would really have to go to the grocery and really do your research of the different food, which would mean you're doing work outside of work hours. And that would take hours if a minimum muna would be 1 hour, given that there's traffic and all of that. So definitely has made my work easier, making me spend less time at work. I can spend time with my kids once I'm home already. No. Sorry, what was the other part of the question again?
In what ways do you think it hasn't made an impact or hasn't
Ah,
really impacted your role? Yeah.
mm, I feel like AI can help me more, but it hasn't yet in terms of other aspects of the administrative tasks. No. Again, I'm not very good at it, so I'm still exploring everything as much as I can. Ako feel ko it would be that one the most. Yung sa administrative. Kasi in terms of me being a practitioner, I feel like I'm utilizing as much as I want already. No, unless, I get to see how other therapists. Kasi besides, of course, the SOS and all of that, it's so easy to ask AI. So let's say there's a new study regarding toileting. You can just prompt AI to give me the different types of studies or journals that talked about toileting and how it's related to this and that. If I'm lazy to read, I ask for a summary. Tapos, provide me the DOI just so I can explain to the parents afterwards. Na, oh, according to this study, ganyan, ganyan. Technically, it's real. That study is there. No, pero I don't have to read the whole manuscript anymore to learn more about it. Um, so yeah, I think if ever man meron to improve more in using AI in my practice, it would be the administrative task. But as a practitioner, if meron pang ipagbabago, then I'm open to it. But at this point, I'm happy with how I'm using it.
Okay, so let's move on to the broader scale of perceived benefits of AI in clinical practice. So, um, not only in your practice in a general scale, what do you think are the potential benefits of generative AI in the OT practice? Or like, how do you see it in, how do you envision generative AI changing OT client care?
Sorry, can I ask a clarification on that one? What is generative AI?
Yes. Okay. So, since AI is a broad term for um, different machine learning technologies, so meaning it's automated, but with generative AI, it's applications like ChatGPT, wherein you can just tell it to do something, give a prompt, and it's gonna
Mm.
generate new information that like simulates the human thinking. So it's not necessarily simply just working on information you give it, but it uses information from everywhere to generate something that seems human made. So that's generative AI po.
Okay. Um, Asking the potential benefits, am I correct?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Um, okay. Benefits really makes our job easier. Easier in a way you don't have to. I don't know if you guys experienced it kasi, but during our time, nung wala pang si AI, it takes forever to search for papers, like the things that you read or articles. No, ang tagal. Sometimes it takes hours just for you to locate one. But kasi even when you're practicing, it's really helpful to have those. And me, I like doing my documentation with the articles. So if I do provide a documentation to the parents, let it be progress report or evaluation, there are articles supporting my whatever it is I write there. So now it's so easy to get those articles. It's it makes our honestly the practice fast. It makes everything faster in a way na I don't have to bring my work outside of working hours. Or if ever man, it's gonna be very, very minimal. Hindi na katulad before na I would spend long hours at night just for me to complete my research, no? Na wala na ganon. For at least for me.
So would you say that it's easy for you to use these AI applications and technologies?
Yes.
Okay, so do you see any risks or challenges with the adoption of AI in the OT practice?
Yes, definitely. Kaya I think yun yung sinasabi ko in the beginning na it's hard to rely on AI completely. So let's be honest, if you create a documentation, you can ask AI to write it, right? And you can, like I said, you can train your chat GPT to sound like you. So more or less that output would sound like you. But the thing is, if yung AI lahat gagawa, your clinical judgment won't be as challenged anymore. Kasi lahat nandun na eh. You just input everything. AI can, kasi we tried it once playing with it, so me and some therapists in the clinic, and honestly we were amazed at how fast it created a paragraph or an entry to, let's say, an evaluation or a progress report. And besides that, it you can prompt it to go further, deeper, and telling you what to recommend to parents, what to do during your sessions. I feel like if we rely too much on that, especially when it comes to documentations, nawawala yung clinical judgment ng therapists. Kasi you're basing it all on something that you read on AI. If only you read what's coming out of what you're asking AI to give you. Kasi a possibility that could happen, especially if nagmamadali, you just copy and paste everything without actually reading it. Now that can be a habit in the long run, or because nga writing papers is honestly a long process. It can be a shortcut for some therapists. And honestly, yung I don't want to happen because we value the clinical judgment that we have. You work on it a lot as you practice longer and baka mawala yun to you.
So, how do you think these issues that you've mentioned with like reliance on AI, how do you think these could be addressed?
I think there should be a protocol regarding the use of AI. So it's not because I know that in school they're starting to build that, but I feel like they should start to build that as well in our practice. I don't know if it's gonna be from PAOD or from PRC. I'm not sure who's gonna do it, but I think it should be there should be some form of regulation for it. Na dapat meron boundaries kung until saan mo pwede gamitin yung AI, especially in our practice where we handle lives themselves. No?
So, with this, with acceptance and intention to use AI in the practice, how would you say that you feel about, how would you feel about the future of AI in OT?
Honestly, it's super exciting. I feel like there's so many things na can be done with AI in our practice. But at the same time, it's very scary kasi paano kung maging reliant na lahat ng therapist sa AI? Yan yung pinagmamalaki ng Filipino therapists, right? That we don't need technology when we go out of the country. We are so adaptive in thinking that we can make an activity out of anything that we have in our hands. So what if by the time that AI becomes so natural and there's no regulations nga or no rules to it, it might alter the I don't know if it's the standing or the quality of care that we give the our patients.
So, some would say that with the growth of artificial intelligence, a lot of patients and clients have also used it to consult with activities that they can do at home.
Yes.
So, um, with that, how do you feel about those situations and them saying that it may help the shortage of OTs here in the Philippines?
Okay, for me, honestly, it's iba iba kasi yung face to face and talagang nag-handle sa'yo is an occupational therapist. I've had parents who tried to do DIY everything at home. I honestly appreciate the efforts of parents and I understand why they're doing it. Price of therapy centers are really high. There's no support from the government or either they're super far away and walang OTs in their area. But at the same time, I've seen the effects of hindi pa nga AI ang gamit nila eh. It's really them passing on activities that they've seen online. And I'm guessing that, of course, the AI would gather these things online as well, right? If the reason that you need an OT talaga is because the parents wouldn't know how to adapt that activity if something comes. I'm speaking as a pediatric OT here, no. So once the kid shows different types of behaviors already, or there's suddenly a need for a sensory break, would the parent be able to adapt the whole activity and scenario that's happening at that moment instead of you know pushing through with that activity. Meron, kasi yun yung, kaya nga nagkaroon ng OT is also, I mean, for them, it's for them to be helped in that sense. And I've had patients nga na who came, try to do it DIY at home, and it's really, really different. It's really different. It's really hard to manage those behaviors na kasi number one, the parents sometimes they don't see the behaviors of the kids. iba yung perspective kasi ng parent dun sa perspective ng therapist. So that's why it's always a teamwork. Now, if it's just the parent handling everything, as much as I appreciate the parents, sometimes you need an outside view. Same with the therapist. If you're the one handling the kid for the longest time, you would need an outside view. Can be an additional OT or additional therapist that's part of the team, a new therapist part of the team, or probably asking the family members for their perspective as well. Doing it at home would definitely be a risk of parents relying on that one, at least in the beginning, hanggang kaya nila. But it's going to be harder for us practitioners in the long run. So medyo scary yung use of AI in terms of how the parents would use it at home. So hopefully, again, like I said, there would be ways to regulate this. No.
So, in your practice, have you or like do you have colleagues who regularly use AI as well?
Yes. Um, Honestly, mas more on the speech side. So sometimes they would ask AI to give them words. This is for me hearing from them. Words with specific sounds, or give me 10 words for this specific sounds, and then they're going to use it during their session. So, yun. Pero mostly nga, speech. Rarely do I hear it from the PTs. Mostly speech and OT.
So, with other professions as well. So, how do you see the future of healthcare in general evolving with the increasing presence of AI?
Uh, are we talking about it hypothetically regulated in the future, or walang regulation,
Um,
or
well, I guess in how it is now and how you, I guess, envision it as well in the future, whether or not there is regulation.
so if it is, there's rules and regulations for it already, it's gonna be great, because it's gonna make it so easy to do certain things. Tapos, you'll be able to lessen your workload. Um, but if wala, it's gonna get harder to deal with families, to deal with your student. I mean, my students. Um, and of course the therapists themselves mahirapan in the long run kasi nga you're relying so much on artificial intelligence already.
So, with this, you're saying that we need regulation. Would you say that you personally, as a therapist, would you like to be informed about generative AI based applications, or would you start to use it or could use it more in your practice with more information that comes in?
Yes, definitely. If we can get somebody to teach us how to properly use them, definitely. I think every therapy center should have that. No? Even for colleges, that would be great. I don't know if you guys have that already, but that would be great. Para by the time that everybody's practicing, or it's out there, we're not gonna have such a hard time dealing with them.
So, do you have any suggestions on how, or for do you have any suggestions for preparing OTs for potential AI adoption in the future?
Hmm. Uh, Sorry, what do you mean by suggestion to the OTs?
On how, because you said that aside from not only having like rules and regulations for
Mhm.
OT, since um, again, not all occupational therapists are necessarily knowledgeable about AI. So, would you have any concrete like suggestions on how they can be prepared to use it in the future, especially since um, more likely AI is here to stay?
Yeah. Yun lang kasi I think I wouldn't know if there's a specific um, mga therapists na are well versed talaga in all of these. Pero if there is somebody who is willing to create a lecture about it or a seminar about it, that would be great. No? Pero like let's say I do lectures and seminars, it would really depend on your audience. So medyo a lot of learning pa to be done in terms of AI and how we can spread, how we can use it, and how we can use it safely, I guess.
All right. So just to share, here in UST we do get some training, I guess, or education on how we can use AI and how we can create prompts to support, especially in terms of our research to support our practice. So, would you say that it is a good practice to also integrate AI in the educational setting or training of future occupational therapists?
Yeah, definitely. Kasi you guys, how do I say? It's I think I don't know, I don't want to give a name, no. But one of my our professors before from UST said the exact same thing. If you don't advance with the technology that we have now, you're going to be left behind. If you keep pushing away the technology that's being created and improved daily, you're going to be left behind. So we don't want to be left behind. And whether or not we want the technology, we think it's helpful for everybody. Kahit na negative outlook mo sa AI, you have to progress with it. Kasi the people around you will be using it. No, same with, sorry, back then kasi ang topic namin was gadgets with kids. But it also applies here. No? Kasi again, that it would improve and improve. Although there are negatives with it, nag-improve yung AI and everybody will be using it in the future. And like I said, it would be great if as early as now, kayo in school are learning it already, how to use it.
All right, so I guess one last question to just wrap up everything. How do you think these experiences overall influence your general perspective on AI's use, AI's impact on the old clinical practice? I guess, are you worried? You have um, are you worried? And or again, you said you were excited earlier, so maybe you can also expound on that. Yes.
Mm. Like I said, it's both, no? It's me being worried and excited at the same time. Kasi exciting kasi I know that there's more for us to use out of AI. Madami pong pwedeng gawin. As in, I feel like how I'm using it is just the tip of the iceberg. And there's so much things that I can do pa and I just have not explored further or I just don't know how to do it. And it will definitely make a clinician's life easier in not just the clinicians but also the administrative work that we do. Pero like you mentioned nga, I said na I am worried about it. Kasi whether or not we like it, there are may negative impact talaga siya. And I hope na hindi ganun ka negative in terms of therapists relying on AI would happen. Sana hindi naman masyado, no?
So if I understood it correctly, for you, it's more of really a mix. Like there's some benefits that you are looking forward to, but there's also some risks that you would prefer to be controlled first before really integrating AI in the setting.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so that is it for our interview. So we thank you so much for making the time today, even with your busy schedule and with your taking care of your baby. So for confirmation and to reduce bias as well in our study, we'll be sending a transcription. So I'll just send you a message na lang po of your interview soon, so that you can check whether or not your answers were consistent with what we noted down. So
Yes.
do you have any questions before
Uh,
we.
no naman, none. At the
Okay,
moment,
so
wala naman.
if none, then again, thank you so much, and you may now leave the meeting po. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I hope your study goes well.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Saan na kayo sa IE?